What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Rayshard Brooks, a black man killed by the police at a Wendy's in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, the Hollywood of the South. The people at Wendy's saw an individual that was in the drive-thru that had fell asleep. So they called the police department. They came and they went to Rayshard Brooks' vehicle, and they they asked him a couple of questions. It started off very cordial, very cordial. Asked him some questions about, has he been drinking? Was he on drugs? Which I kind of found very offensive. Just to automatically ask the guys he on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Just the guy was sleep at the wheel of the car. In a drive-thru. He could have, been, I could see you asking him if he'd been drinking, but he could have been I could see that. But for you to ask him if he'd been on drugs, so that's just the bias that that a police officer would have when they're interacting with a black individual, a person of color individual. They're always thinking negative. Oh, okay, you've been drinking, or you on drugs, and so they quickly asked him to. Pull the vehicle out of the driveway. And, so they wanted him to do that. And then he fell back asleep again. So they came to his car a second time. And he was still trying to wake him back up. He was clearly tired, clearly exhausted, clearly, I ain't going to say exhausted, but he was clearly, sleepy. And that's established that. So at that point, he pulls over, out of the driveway. He pulls over to a adjacent parking space, and they talk to him, and they say, look, they want him to take a sobriety test. So to conduct a sobriety test, Officer Gary Wolf calls for backup. He brings in a fellow officer, and Devin Bronson comes over, and Rayshard Brooks fails the drug test. My bad. I'm sorry about that. Fails the sobriety test. So at that point, they attempt to arrest Rayshard Brooks. So they try to put the handcuffs. He resists. It's a struggle between both of the officers. They end up all three on the ground. They're wrestling. Rayshard Brooks gets the taser from the officer, breaks loose from the two officers, and starts running away from Wendy's in their parking lot. As the officer Gary Wolf is chasing him, Rayshard Brooks is with the taser, starts shooting the taser back at Officer Wolf. Now, the distance between the officer and Rayshard Brooks at that point, as he was in the trail position, the officer, probably was about somewhere between 5 to 7 yards. So when he shot the taser back at the officer, it wasn't gonna have any effect on the officer. So the officer was not at any kind of threat. It was a non-lethal weapon, and that's when the officer pulled the gun out and shot and killed and murdered Rayshard Brooks. That's what happened. People gonna say, "Oh, he was violent. He was resisting, and he was a threat on the officer's life. He shot a lethal weapon. He shot a taser at the officer." Yeah, it was. Let me show you something. The tasers work. You got to be in close proximity for a taser to work. If you 5 to 7 yards ahead of the person, you turn your arm backwards and shoots at the officer with the taser, it's not going to have no effect on the officer. Now, there's a lot of things that could have happened that would have spared Mr. Rayshard Brooks' life. You understand? First of all, why are you attempting to arrest a man for falling asleep in a drive-thru? Number one, okay, you say he took the test, he failed the sobriety test. Okay, that was number one. But before that point, you could have easily called Uber. And he would have got his car impounded. He would have to take care of that at a later date, next day or whenever he was able to get the money to get it out of the impound. And you could have let the guy go home without losing his life. That's number one. Number two, when you were chasing Rayshard Brooks, you could have let him go. You got his car, let him run, call for backup, Call for backup. He's gonna go, he's on foot, so he ain't gonna be too far. You could have called for backup, set up a perimeter to cut him off wherever he was running to, and you could have arrested him without killing Rayshard Brooks. That's number 2. Okay, this was a senseless killing by Gary Wolf, a senseless killing by him. He didn't have to take Rayshard Brooks' life. I don't care how you try to slice it. I see Ben Carson up here tap dancing again. This guy here is, this guy Ben Carson is, this video is different than George Floyd. I feel that the police officer was at risk. His life was at risk. People shouldn't just jump to conclusion. Ben Carson, you a neurosurgeon. Shut the hell up and quit speaking on these matters. I know Trump trying to put you out there because you're the only black man that's in his cabinet. So he's going to put you out there on Front Street when these issues come up and think you can shed some light on these situations. But you're a neurosurgeon. Stick to what you do. You don't know what you're talking about, man. And every time you open your mouth, you just verify what I think about you already. You understand me? You know what I'm saying? You out here tap dancing and stuff, putting on for these people, and these people don't care nothing about you. That's the thing you don't even understand. They don't care nothing. They don't care nothing what you can do for them. As soon as you can't do nothing for them, they're going to cast you to the side just like they always do. And you need to understand that. You understand me? And quit out here tap dancing and putting on for these people when you don't have no expertise in this field. What I'm saying is the situation could have been avoided. He didn't have to lose his life. Yes, he was resisting arrest. Yes, he took the officer's taser, but he didn't have to lose his life. He was running away from the officer. He posed no threat to the officer. The officer didn't have to take his life, but the officer was mad because he got his taser took. The officer was mad because he couldn't control the suspect. The suspect was getting away with his taser. So he got mad, pulled out the gun, and shot and killed and murdered Rayshard Brooks. And I hope the charges that the Atlanta Police Department filed on him is murder charges, not manslaughter charges. That's what I'm hearing that's most likely going to be the charge. It should be murder charge. Whether it be in the first degree, the second degree, or the third degree, it should be a murder charge because it was murder. Ain't no two way you can slice this. It was murder. It could have been avoided. You could have called Uber. You know what I'm saying? When you couldn't apprehend him, he was running away, you could have called for more backup. You could have shut down the perimeter. He was only going to get so far. He on foot. He not in the car. You got his car. But you got mad because you couldn't apprehend him. He's a black man. You got preconceived ideas about a black man. Just not too long ago, it was a situation involving a white male that resisted arrest that took the officer taser. He didn't lose his life. He got apprehended and he got put behind bars. But a black man don't get afforded those same luxuries. You know what I'm saying? One shame luxury. I'm just happy that they had a camera that showed the world what was going on. And hopefully you don't listen to the Ben Carsons of the world and believe that the police officers' actions was justified, because they were not. They were not justified. It could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. And thing about it is, you knowing what's going on with these situations right now. It's a high temperature going on with the George Floyd murder, the Breonna Taylor murder, the Ahmaud Arbery murder, the Trayvon Martin murder, the Tamir Rice murder, the Sandra Bland murder, the Michael Scott murder. So officers should be erring on the side of non-lethal activities. And when a situation occurs like this, if you see a way that you can avoid a situation of taking a man's life, especially a man of color life right now, you need to go to that. You need to go down that road and quit going down the road that you just feel that you have to go down to when you interact with people of color. With the situation going on right now, the nation is on fire. It's on fire right now. So that police officer didn't look at that. He was upset. He was mad. Got his taser taken. The guy was getting away from him. He couldn't control the officer. You had two officers and you couldn't control the guy. You couldn't keep him on the ground. You couldn't apprehend him. He was on the run with your taser. You got mad. You shot and killed him. You said enough of all this run. I'm not finna run after you, and I'm not finna run after you and get into another altercation with you physically. I'm finna take the easy road. I'm finna take the easy route. I'm gonna shoot and kill you, and it'll be done. And it was overheard in the video that the officer, after he shot and killed and murdered Rayshard Brooks, he said, "I got him. I got him." Put that on the t-shirt. I got him. Put that on the t-shirt just like you put on the t-shirt, "I can't breathe. I got him." That's what Garrett Wolf said. That's just an adequate name for this individual, Garrett Wolf. A wolf at the door, a wolf in sheep clothing. And that sheep clothing is the police department's, the police uniform, which is supposed to serve and protect, not kill and dismantle. And that's just exactly what Garrett Wolf did. Now, when I did a video on George Floyd, I had a lot of comments in my comment section. People like Dr. Service came at me, said, "Oh, you people, y'all just always want to pull a race card out, and it wasn't, Trayvon Martin wasn't killed. You want to put a race card out. George Zimmerman, not even a white, he's a Mexican." Man, GTFO. George Zimmerman. I ain't never known nobody with the last name Zimmerman as a Latino, number one. George Zimmerman was not a Latino. I don't care what he was. He murdered an unarmed young black teen that was coming from the store with some Skittles and some tea, going back to his daddy's house. He killed him trying to be a wannabe cop. He wasn't even a policeman, man, and he got off on an all-white jury. But Dr. Cervase missed me with that, because you quick to come out, and people like that think like you quick to come out and say that, they just throwing a racial card out. You just a race hustler. You just trying to stand on your soapbox and point out things that ain't even true. This had nothing to do with race. This had something to do with a suspicious young teen that was walking back home from his store with some tea and Skittles, and George Zimmerman was trying to protect the neighborhood, and he with the laws that they have in Florida, stand your ground law, he was justified, and that's why he was found innocent. Man, miss me with that. I'm tired of this. We tired. That's why we out here protesting in these streets. 50 states in this union that we call United States, and all 50 states, they have protested. They have protested. And here we go with another example. How many black men must die, must be murdered at the hands of police before you guys recognize and understand that we sick and tired of being sick and tired? We sick and tired of being sick and tired. I salute the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms, for quickly acting and getting that cop fired and the other cop put on administrative leave, and firing the police chief, a female police chief, who I know had to overcome obstacles to get in her position, and I salute her. But it happened on her watch, and the situation had to be handled in the way it was handled. And I salute Keisha Lance Bottoms for doing what she did and quickly acting on that situation. Now in Minnesota, where George Floyd was murdered, a 30-member city council is going to vote to dismantle and defund the police department. And I salute them for doing that. It's veto proof. So it is going to happen. And I ask the Atlanta City Council to take the same measures. This is something that is rotten from the core. You can't just mess around on the edges with this. You need to go to the core and root it out and regrow this. And that's what needs to happen all across this nation. All these police departments, even in Houston, where I salute Sylvester Turner for doing what he's doing and serving how he's serving our city. But every police department, in my opinion, need to be dismantled and regrown from the root up. because this is systematic. This ain't just about one corrupt police officer. This is about a corrupt system. This is about a corrupt system. And that's what needs to be eradicated. You understand me? It needs to be eradicated. So my thoughts and prayers goes out to Rayshard Brooks and his family and his kids. He lost his life unnecessarily. I don't give a damn what Ben Carson say or what all these right-wing people say. He lost his life unnecessarily. The cop had other options. The cop had his car. He was running away from the cop. He posed no threat with the car. Yeah, he had his taser, but he was shooting a taser from 5 to 7 yards ahead of the officer. What that taser had no effect on the officer, and the officer reached for his gun and fatally shot Rayshard Brooks. Took his life unnecessarily. Now leave your comments in the comment section if you agree with me, and I hope you do agree with me. But if you like people like Dr. Cervase, I'm gonna bring you up again and believe that I'm just playing a race card. I'm a racial hustler, and Trayvon Martin wasn't murdered, and Del Zeman was Mexican, he was Latino, so therefore it wasn't about race. You want to throw all these different scenarios at me and these different BS arguments at me, but you don't want to recognize what's been going on for 400 years. And that's oppression for black and brown people that needs to be eradicated. And that's why these people are out here in these streets protesting. The streets are talking, as Dave Chappelle so eloquently stated in his comedy sketch called 8:46, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I advise you guys to check out Dave Chappelle 8 minutes and 46 seconds comedy special he did. He brought out some real good issues, and he ripped the reel on that one. No doubt about it, ripped the reel on that one. I advise you to check him out, and he shed lights on things, and check him out. But check this video out, and let me know what you think in the comment section about Rayshard Brooks, the latest victim, the latest black man that gets his life taken at the hands of police. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.